100 amazing facts around the world.
The number 2,520 can be divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 without having a fractional leftover. In the first Dumb and Dumber movie, Jeff Daniels made just $50,000, while Jim Carrey was paid $7 million. There is a phobia of erect penises called phallophobia. Kuku keiki kakak kakak ku kayak kuku keiki kakak kakak ku is an Indonesian tongue twister meaning my sister's toenails look like my grandfather's. It only takes a few seconds to subscribe to this informative channel. The color of your boogers can be a clue to your health. Green or yellow boogers indicate illness. Black boogers are heavy with dust and dirt. Orange boogers mean you eat too many Cheetos. Hedy Lamarr was a famous Hollywood film actress who also invented what became modern-day Wi-Fi. Michael J. Fox's middle name is Andrew. Emil Heskey's middle name is Ivanhoe. David Frost's middle name is Paradigm. Richard Gere's middle name is Tiffany. One ejaculation represents a data transfer of 15,875 GB, equivalent to the combined capacity of 62 MacBook Pro laptops. Babe Ruth wore a cabbage leaf under his cap to keep him cool, and he changed it over every 2 innings. According to a review of the medical literature, there were 45 caffeine-related deaths reported between 1959 and 2010. A full bladder is about the size of a softball. Abraham Lincoln lost 5 separate elections before he became president of the U.S. Reindeer eyeballs turn blue in winter to help them see at lower light levels. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the toughest tongue twister is the sixth sheep sick. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, has saltwater gyres that are 20x taller than Mount Everest. Martin Van Buren is the 8th U.S. president, and he is actually the first president who was born in the USA. Until 1796, a large part of the modern state of Tennessee was called Franklin. President John F. Kennedy was buried without his brain as it was stolen during his autopsy. To know when to mate, a male giraffe will continuously headbutt the female in the bladder until she urinates. The male then tastes the urine, and that helps it determine whether the female is ovulating. Kangaroos use their tails as a third leg. This is called the tripod stance. Jake Gyllenhaal's first driving lesson was from Paul Newman, who was a close family friend. Princess Diana and her brothers had such a bad relationship with their stepmother, Rain Spencer, that 2 days after their father died, they threw her out of their house. Sloths are strong swimmers, especially good at the backstroke. George Clooney slept in a friend's closet for a year when he first moved to LA. North Korea is the only country to have been caught cheating twice at the International Mathematical Olympiad. Osborne 1 was the first commercially successful portable microcomputer. Released in 1981, it weighed nearly 25 pounds, had to be plugged into the wall, and $5,000 in today's dollars. Neil Armstrong first stepped on the moon with his left foot. Supermodel Carolina Kurkova has no belly button. It was removed during an operation when she was younger. Saint Peter, the first pope, was crucified upside down at his own request, since he saw himself unworthy to be crucified in the same way as Jesus. Queen Elizabeth visited the set of Game of Thrones, but according to David Benioff, she didn't sit on the fictional throne because the Queen of England is not allowed to sit on a foreign throne. Shrimp's hearts are in their heads. For 48 years after tinned food was invented, people who wanted to eat it had to use a hammer and chisel. The can opener wasn't invented until 1858. Jack Bauer, the lead character in the TV series 24, killed 112 people in the first 5 seasons of the show. Niels Bohr hid the Nobel Prize medals of the Jewish Max von Laue and James Frank from the Nazis by dissolving the gold medals in acid and then reversing the chemical process to retrieve the gold after the war. More than 1 in 20 football injuries are caused by celebrating goals on the pitch. Hippo sweat has a reddish-orange coloration that acts as a natural sunblock. The sticky substance also helps regulate the hippo's body temperature and discourages bacterial infection. Michael Jordan practiced with strobe lights on so he wouldn't be distracted by camera flashes during the game. The USA is home to the world's largest bears. They are Kodiak brown bears, who come from Kodiak Island in Alaska. Lima beans have an amazing ability to command wasps as a defense. If insects are eating the lima beans leaves, the plant gives off a substance that acts as a signal to parasitic wasps to swoop in and destroy their enemy. Daniel Radcliffe's stunt double was paralyzed during the last Harry Potter film, so he set up a fundraiser to pay for him to go to college. Grape Kun, a Humboldt penguin that lived in a zoo in Japan, grew so attached to a cardboard cutout of an anime girl that he lived with it as his wife till his death. Dreamt is the only word in the English language that ends in the letters MT. George Washington had a phobia of being buried alive and insisted that his corpse be laid out for 3 days after he died, just to make sure. The first European to ever reach and cross the Mississippi River was the Spanish explorer, Hernando de Soto. Lombardi's is the oldest pizzeria in America. It opened in New York City in 1905. Attila the Hun died of a nosebleed. On his wedding night, he drank heavily and passed out in his bed. He then had a severe nosebleed and choked to death on his own blood. Rowan Atkinson aka Mr. Bean is a qualified electrical engineer. In 1958, news broke that singer Jerry Lee Lewis had married a 15-year-old woman. She later turned out to be only 13-year-old and later turned out to be his first cousin named Myra Gale Lewis. The first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, died from drinking a mixture of mercury and powdered jade intended to give him eternal life. British Prime Minister David Cameron was once part of a youth gang that smashed windows of businesses in Oxford. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, Canada declared war on Japan before the United States did. Russia created an orphan village named Orion where foster parents can leave alongside orphans. Orphans are invited to leave with families and they decide whether to stay. Heroin was originally marketed as cough medicine. The orange clownfish family consists of several males living with a female, which is the largest fish in the group. She harasses her female offsprings and denies them access to food to control their size to deter sexual competition. Candy Crush Saga had a daily revenue of $633,000 from the United States section of the iOS App Store alone back in 2013. Joel Silver, producer for some of the greatest action franchises of all time, such as Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, and The Matrix, also was one of the 3 college kids who created Ultimate Frisbee. Saint Vitus is the patron saint of oversleeping. Pope Benedict XVI doesn't know how to drive and never got a driver's license, but he does have a helicopter pilot's license and even liked to fly the papal helicopter when he was pope. The racehorseman won 120 races in a row. He lost his last race in 1919 to a horse named Upset. Some of the U.S. states like Florida and Texas used to have the death penalty for the horse thieves. Today, people still get into jail quite often for horse theft, with about 40,000 horses a year being stolen in the world. A snowflake that falls on a glacier in central Greenland can take 200,000 years to reach the sea. During World War I, Americans began calling sauerkraut Liberty cabbage to distance it from its German origin. Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt was dubbed the fastest man alive after winning 3 gold medals at the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, China, and becoming the first man in Olympic history to win both the 100 and 200-meter races in record times. It is estimated that up to 1 billion birds die every year from smashing into windows. Formula One drivers lose around 4 kilograms of body weight and 3 liters of water after each race. Jean Bell was the first black person to appear on the cover of Playboy Magazine and also one of the first African-American Playmates of the month as Miss October 1969. Marine iguanas have a mutualistic relationship with lava lizards, as the lizards often scurry over them to hunt flies. As the iguanas are herbivores, they rely on the lizards to remove the flies. The origins of feudalism in medieval Europe can be traced back to a disastrous period of the Roman Empire called the 3rd century crisis. The average brain weighs about 3 pounds. A newborn brain weighed about 3/4 of a pound. Paul McCartney is the only musician to top the music charts as a solo artist, in a duo, trio, quartet, and quintet. Dr. Amanda Hess, who was in the hospital preparing to give birth, put her own delivery on hold to deliver another woman's baby after hearing that the child was in distress and her doctor had left the hospital for a break. Shaggy's real name is Norville Rogers. Planets, including Earth, make bizarre, song-like sounds in outer space. NASA instruments have recorded these songs and sent them back to Earth for all to hear. Australia's most famous aircraft designer, Fred David, was an Austrian Jew who previously worked for Heinkel, Mitsubishi, and Aichi. Not only does everyone have unique fingerprints, humans also have unique thumbprints. In 1975, an American entrepreneur named Gary Dahl invented the pet rock. He took rocks from a Mexico beach and, over the course of only half a year, would sell each rock for $4, making himself over $1.5 million. The lollipop was invented by the American George Smith in 1908. He came from Connecticut and decided to name his creation after his favorite racehorse, Lollipop. The world's first burger joint opened in 1921. It was White Castle, founded in Wichita, Kansas. The Flower Wars was fought between the Aztec Alliance and its enemies. The wars were fought with a set of conventional rules, and the purpose was to capture human sacrifices and combat training. Albert Einstein worked as an electrician on the Oktoberfest 1896. Benjamin Franklin believed that, while marriage is the preferred state for a male, unmarried men should have sex with older women. Emma Watson hides books on subways in England and New York. SpongeBob SquarePants creator Stephen Hillenburg majored in marine sciences at Humboldt State University and minored in art. He loved both subjects, but his real passion was art. He chose marine science because he thought it would be hard to make a living doing art alone. Harry Houdini could pick up pins with his eyelashes and thread a needle with his toes. During the Battle of Koh Tang, 85 Cambodian soldiers fiercely defended the island against 3 U.S. Marine battalions, inflicting 88 casualties. An American soldier, Henry Gunter, was the last casualty in World War I. He was killed at 10:59 a.m., 1 minute before the armistice was to take effect at 11 a.m. In 1871, Mark Twain invented one of the first bra clasps. Swedish automobile manufacturer, Volvo, which has a focus on safety, gave away its patent to the 3-point seat belt in order to save lives. HBO was more than happy to grant Game of Thrones them more episodes, but Dan and David knew deep down that Season 8 is where the story is meant to end. Adidas and Puma were founded by 2 brothers, Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. They were huge rivals. The actor who plays Hot Pie, Ben Hawkey, teamed up with UK food delivery service Deliveroo to launch his Game of Thrones-inspired bakery, You Know Nothing John Doe. Histoplasmosis, a disease that can affect humans and animals, is caused by a fungus in bird droppings. Italy didn't have tomatoes, India didn't have peppers, and Ireland didn't have potatoes until the Americas were discovered. That same is true for squash, maize, peanuts, and common bean. Shirako, a Japanese delicacy, is made from the semen of fish and mollusks, and has a custard-like texture when cooked. If you order drunken shrimp in China, you'll be served a crustacean that is still alive but stunned from being soaked in liquor. Leonardo da Vinci worked on the Mona Lisa for 15 years. In Captain America: Civil War, if you look closely on the right side of War Machine's chest piece, you can see tally marks of kills in the form of tiny Ultron heads, referencing the battle for Sokovia in Age of Ultron. Edmund Hillary, the first man to climb Everest, was a professional beekeeper. Because tonto means stupid in Spanish, when the Lone Ranger was shown in Latin America, he was called toro or bull.
World Top 20.
Thanks for watching.
For more videos, please like the video, comment below, and subscribe to the channel.
We wish you a fruitful day ahead.
And remember, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.